The UWI is to confer honorary degrees on Usain Bolt and Brian Lara. And in sports, Bolt wins gold in the 200 meters at the World Championships.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Michelle Arthur, and this is the CBC Evening News. The Barbados Workers Union says it will do everything in its power to ensure that Barbados overcomes the current economic crisis. That pledge was made during the closing session of the 70th Annual Delegates Conference at Solidarity House. Delegates heard a number of resolutions put forward by members and were reminded of the role the BWU continues to play in protecting the rights of workers. Senior Assistant General Secretary Tony Moore told delegates the BWU is prepared to use its collective power on any matter affecting labor in Barbados.
During these challenging times, the BWU has continued to be the foremost voice calling for job security and an enhanced social protection for our workers. As we have before, through exceptional leadership, maneuvered admirably through the peaks and the throws, this conference can be comfortable knowing that the current crisis will also pass, and that the current staff complement of the BWU is well equipped to lead
for their contribution to the labor movement in Barbados. Retired cameraman Dalton Jackman, senior reporter Mike Goddard, and on-air personality Peter Wilkinson also received awards. They were presented with plaques for their role as long-standing shop stewards and journalists on labor issues. On receiving the award, Mr. Goddard had some advice for workers in Barbados.
Each of us, in our individual way, perform our duties and work on our jobs the way we are supposed to do it, we won't have to think about IMF or any other kind of F, because you will be able to generate enough in this economy that everybody can benefit. In other words, the more bread you produce, the more people you need to do it. The more you produce, you need people to work. Do your individual bit to the best of your ability, and this economy will not only come out of the doldrums, but we will be on top.
Barbadians turned out in their numbers this evening to support the first anniversary of the Campus Giants robbery and fire that claimed the lives of 6 young women. It was organized by the Sep03 Foundation in memory of the victims that died in that fire that destroyed a clothing store last year on Tudor Street. The march started at Tudor Street and ended at the Queen's Park Steel Shed. The Sep03 Foundation says it will be held annually to honor those that died in one of Barbados' most horrific incidents. Exhibitors are hoping for a better turnout from the public during the last day of the annual Home Expo. The event at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center showcases various home furnishings and allows people to view the latest construction concepts from manufacturers in Barbados. A visit by CBC News this afternoon revealed a less than busy showcase with just a trickle of people viewing what was on offer. Some exhibitors believe more people will visit the expo as it draws to a close.
School this year is pretty quiet. I mean, it's back to school next week. They have a host of things going on this weekend. But today is Saturday afternoon and tomorrow is going to be a crowd. Hopefully that's going to be here. So today and tomorrow you should see an increase of people passing through the expo.
The Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation is acknowledging the achievements of a group of 11+ students as they prepare to enter secondary school for the first time next week. The CBC did so at an awards ceremony yesterday afternoon. CBC's Sean Farrell reports.
The children, most of whom were accompanied by their parents, appreciated the gesture, which has come as the students prepare to enter a new school environment next week. And the smiling faces told it all as they received their gifts from Acting General Manager Rod London and Human Resources Manager Sandra Ann Blackman. The youngsters were also given some advice by motivational speaker Errol Griffith. He warned them about the use of the internet and in particular peer sites like Facebook.
It means that you're exposed not just to a lot more that is not good, you're also exposed to a lot more that is good. But with all the information that you face, there's one thing that has never changed from the time this world began. And that one thing is your freedom of choice. My challenge to you is to make wise choices.
The management of the CBC says it would like to have more events like this in the future. The awards ceremony was also made possible with help from the Barbados National Bank and Page's Bookstore. Sean Farrell, CBC News.
A 28-year-old Christchurch man has been charged with the murder of 17-year-old Justin John. Anderson Rodney Omar Best of Kings Court Lodge Road, Christchurch, has been charged with the stabbing death of John earlier this week in the same area. John of number 744 Kingston Terrace, Christchurch, died after receiving a stab wound to the chest. John reportedly ran from the scene and collapsed a short distance away. Coast Guard officials have recovered the body of a man at Foul Bay, St. Philip. It was pulled from the water just after 2 this afternoon. Police Public Relations Officer Inspector David Welch says the body is that of a male with a dark complexion, about 5'6" to 8 inches long with black hair. According to him, it appears to have been in the water for some time and is in a state of decomposition. Law enforcement officials were first alerted about the body, which was seen floating off the east coast yesterday. But Coast Guard officials were unable to retrieve it because of choppy waters. Anyone who has knowledge of the identity of that person should contact the District C Police Station at 416-8200. A prominent Anglican cleric is advising Barbadians to believe in Christ and that he will provide their every need. He's Reverend Arrington Messiah, who was presented with a BlackBerry Curve 5220 from Barbadian Furnishing Store Courts. He was speaking during the CBC radio program Talk Your Talk on 100.7 FM. Reverend Messiah thanked Courts for its generosity, noting that such a gift is commendable.
I am a praying person, and I believe in the Psalms. And the psalmist talks about those who live a godly life shall lack nothing. And to be honest, I do not lack anything in life because God provides for me.
Oh, yes.
And I do believe that I must be living a godly life. That persons do provide for me.
Father Messiah says his 8520 BlackBerry phone's contact list will not be limited to a few people, but any Barbadian can call him if and when they need help.
Phone is the public phone. I want to say that, you know. I find that persons, even persons who own phones, sometimes you can't get them. And then I find that it is not fair. A number will turn up private and unknown. You will know my number, but I don't know yours. I don't think that is right. This will now be a public phone.
Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt and former West Indies captain Brian Charles Lara will be among 20 Caribbean nationals to receive honorary doctorates by the University of the West Indies. The degrees will be conferred at the annual graduation ceremonies of the regional university to be held across its 4 campuses during October and November. Lara, the world record holder for the highest test score and first-class cricket, will head a list of 6 people, including prominent attorney Sir Fenton Ramsahoy, who will receive the honorary doctorate of laws from the St. Augustine campus during the graduation ceremony scheduled for October 27th to 29th. Bolt will headline the graduation ceremony at the Mona campus in Jamaica, where 5 Caribbean nationals, including Professor Lenworth Jacobs and Dr. Erna Broadber, will receive honorary doctorates. At the Cavell campus in Barbados on October 22nd, former president of the Caribbean Development Bank, Professor Compton Bourne, will head a list of 5 Caribbean nationals, including the Most Reverend Dr. John Holder and Professor Emeritus Keith Sandiford, receiving the honorary doctors in law and letters respectively. The ceremonies will begin on October 15th, with the open campus graduation to be held in Antigua. Regional lawmen are being advised to use their power wisely because they have a major responsibility to all citizens under their jurisdiction. This advice is coming from retired Justice Mr. Leroy Innes. He was speaking during the joint ceremony of the Prosecutors and Enhanced Constables Development Course at the Regional Police Training Center. Mr. Innes told participants that while having great power, it must be executed the best way possible to ensure the safety and protection of every person.
There are certain things which you must bear in mind. Most important, you must respect the rights of those over whom you exercise that power. It's most important that you do not allow power to go to for your use and for your power is given to you that you may serve your community. And in serving your community, you must respect the rights of those over whom the power is given.
Mr. Innes adds that as they carry out their duties, there must be no signs of impartiality, but fairness and integrity.
There must not be discrimination where you act in favor of a person because of his origin, his color, or his political affiliation. Neither must it be used to act against, neither for nor against. You must show impartiality. You must also remember to show loyalty to your organization.
21 people are feared dead after a Chilean Air Force plane crashed in the Pacific Ocean on its way to the remote Juan Fernandez Islands. Chilean Defense Minister Andres Alemán says the Casa 212 plane had twice tried to land at the island's airport before going missing. The island's mayor said conditions were rough and windy and passengers' luggage had been spotted in the water. A TV crew was on board, including popular presenter Felipe Chamorrego. He had been flying to the islands with a 5-strong crew from Chile's national TV program Good Morning Everyone to film a piece on reconstruction projects after a magnitude 8.8 earthquake and tsunami devastated the islands in February 2010.